time tremendously when you're working on these shoes. So my shoe is going to be Nike. Unlocking the layer. Now I just wanted to do the quick select here. Making sure I select everything. Go around the shadow pretty rough. So essentially, yeah, I'm not doing that. So essentially it would be that for your shoes in a couple weeks at this point. Okay. Okay, so replace color. I'm going to duplicate this layer. The replace color option in Photoshop is destructive editing, meaning that when I make edits to this shoe, I am not going to be able to turn that edited layer off and then reveal other shoes or other different styles of color. So I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So what I did was I just duplicated the layer, and then I'm hiding the bottom one so I can maintain my original. So say you're gonna have maybe 2 to 3 shoes, one to 3 additional shoes in the category. Let's say 2. You have your hero shoe being the big main focus shoe, and then like 2 other shoes next to it. And I'll show you that in a demonstration as well. Just a real quick brush up there. So I'm going to take my layer. I'm going to go to, where is that? Image mode, image adjustments, and then replace color. Okay. So this tool is awesome because you can jump in here, and I can select whatever tone of color I want to change the shoe. And up here in the upper right here, you can see that what I have selected in the shoe so far. If I select just a color red, you're going to see that all of the red here on the shoe is being selected. So I'm basically selecting this by color pixels. And if I hold my shift key, you can see the little plus sign on the eyedropper. I can select more of that saturated color. Now I'm selecting even this orange in the Nike shoe. I can increase, what this fuzziness is it increases and decreases the intensity of the color selection. So now I'm all the way up here. I'm selecting so much that even this orange on the tongue of the shoe is being selected. So maybe that's too much, right? I can just go, bring it down a little bit, and so on. So these are good things to play around with. Here's where it gets interesting down here. Your hue, saturation, and lightness panel. So just like the hue, saturation adjustments, you can do the same here. Well, what I typically will use is this result box, and just so I can see what my final result is going to be. So let's say I want one of my pairs to be like this. It's like tealish. It's not even close to teal. That. See how some of these areas are kind of still a little bit red and so on. This area too is not really that selected. So I can just hit OK here. Now the change hasn't been made yet. I'm still previewing this thing. but I can also hit this, again, this shift click button to grab the rest of those pixels and to really completely change the color of the shoe. Again, I can adjust the fuzziness a bit to see how it's gonna not apply to certain colors within the range that I'm targeting here. Localized clusters is creating a change I don't really care for, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Hit OK. So there's my other shoe. Let's say, for instance, I wanted to, I'm just duplicating this shoe now, this shoe layer, and putting it on top of that last one I did, the green. So now I just want to select just this check symbol. Not very perfect of a select. That's pretty good. And then there's these accent pieces of the shoe. You know, because I want it to be more than just green. I want it to be something a little bit more than just that. Okay, so kind of roughing it in there. You know, so now I'll Command-Shift-I that whole layer, and I'll just delete that, okay? So now I have my Nike checks, now they're orange, right? Let me duplicate those checks, that check piece there, and I'll just put it underneath and hide it. So I'm going to save that layer for later, so I don't have to reselect all that stuff, all that work that I just did. I'm just duplicating it. You know, who cares how big this file is at this point? And then I can just go here with my checks. I'll choose, I'll just do the hue saturation because it's going to be easier. I can colorize. So under hue saturation, colorize, I can really just kind of change this thing way better or way faster. Okay, so that's a whole different shoe. I'll save it. So let's group these together. Okay, so that's shoe 1. Let's shoe 1. You know what? No, that's shoe 2. Okay, that's shoe 2. This is shoe 1. You know what? I gotta go in here. What I gotta do is cut the shadow out. So under shoe 2, I'm gonna take my pen tool and trace the piece of the shoe that just touches the shadow. Because what I'm going to do is separate this shadow layer, and I'm going to apply a layer blend to that. So for whatever background it's going to be in my catalog or magazine, that's going to kind of show through the shadow. It'll have a little bit of opacity just so you can kind of get the effect of that shoe actually being on that actual background. Okay, so make selection, 0 pixels, and I'm just gonna copy, cut, paste. So here's my shadow, and it's just gonna kind of snap where it needs to be, kind of. Probably have to adjust it, there we go. That's about right. I'll put it behind my shoe. Okay, so that's what I need. So this shoe's done. This shoe, I just need to go back to my work path again. I'll just hit that work path button because that's already going to be saved in there. Make selection again. Okay. Now I'll just copy, Command C, Command X, Command V, and then just drag this over. What I should have done is put the shadow, cut the shadow out first, and then on my first shoe before I started going into the other pieces of it. So okay, so I'm gonna group that layer. Okay. So I have 2 shoes here. I'm going to duplicate shoe 2 just to make it group 2. And what I'll then do is go in here and just quick change this to a 3rd color. So again, replace color. This time it's selecting green. So I'm clicking what I want to keep. Change my result. Let's see how this works. Oh, it doesn't. Oh. Wait. Yep, I got a shoe on top. Okay. Alright, so I had a layer on top that was hiding all of the changes I was making. Okay. Change the result. This will be like this powder blue. Okay. Make it a little fuzzier just to catch everything. And then I'll go in here again and just select the obvious green pixels that I need to kind of include. Some of these darker greens here, and this shoe is just, it's just, you know, kind of changing the color for me. It doesn't even take that much effort whatsoever. I can increase the fuzziness to get it a little bit more. And we're so close into the shoe that in a printed piece it's not even going to be not noticeable. Okay, and then for this particular one I'll just do the hue saturation for that Nike check again. I'll do it something more contrasty. Oop, saturate. Here we go. Okay. Alright, so 1, 2, 3 different shoes. Okay. So what I'll do, I have here, and what I'm going to provide before, after everyone photoshops the amount of shoes that they need to go into the layout, I'm just going to give you a basic template in InDesign, and you can effectively just paste that shoe in there, scale it. Alright, so this is kind of your template shoe. And then we'll just duplicate that shoe. Shrink it down to a good size for the layout. Get rid of those. I'm going to option shift click, drag, release, duplicate that shoe. Okay. And that's all I really had, was 3 different types of shoes. So then, you know, basically you'll have one Photoshop file placed 3 times. You can click this InDesign file, and now you can go within InDesign object layer options. And now what I can do is with this Photoshop file, I can turn on and off the layers that I want to show from the Photoshop file. So I'll turn that layer off, turn this layer on, shoe 2, I'll preview it. Okay, that's, well, the green doesn't look really good in print, so it's unfortunate. So just okay. And then same thing. I'm just going shoe for shoe, turning off, turning on certain shoe layers. So I wish that green shoe didn't look as ugly, but it unfortunately does, so sorry. Okay, so then quick, I wanted to show you just one last thing before I bore you to tears with more demos. I'm going to open this. I'm going to save this as save it as adjustment layer demo. Okay, I'm going to. Okay, I'm going to keep that shoe. I'm getting rid of the rest. Okay. I'll duplicate this. There we go. Turn this off. Okay, so within this shoe group, shoe 1, I'll call it shoe 2. I'm going to select the layer that I want to tweak with some adjustment layers. So I'm going to go to image, layer, new adjustment layer. Let's see. Let's just do gradient map. So play around with these adjustment layers. Some of them are terrible. Some of them are you can use for stuff. So there's one that's I don't know. Might kind of be usable. Let's see. I can change the blending mode of this layer. So of this adjustment layer. I mean, so you can really just mix and match anything. I mean, this is all about experimenting with Photoshop. Experiment all you can, see what it does. So here, and then I'll just maybe bring the opacity down. Well, maybe it's just a shoe like that. Likewise, I can. I'm going to do another adjustment layer. So let's just say I want that to be my shoe. Let's do. Let me turn the adjustment layer off, and then I'll just do something like new adjustment layer, photo filter, and let me see. Can do like a cooling filter, something like that. When you're doing the shoes, I think replace color is the way to go anyways, but I wanted to demo this for you so you could kind of see how adjustment layers can actually be used when you drag into InDesign as well. Changing a shoe is really a matter of changing turning on or off an adjustment layer or a layer. And then here I'll do the same. So I'm just relinking. Okay, that's fine. Relinking these shoe files, and then again clicking on the one and going to object layer options, turning off, going into this shoe layer, then turning off the gradient map adjustment layer, and then keeping the photo filter layer on. So let's say I have a background here. What I want to do now is show you how I'd recommend working with the background. So I got a really busy background here just for the purposes of showing you the effect of the shadow when it goes over it. So obviously here it's obviously Photoshop, the edge of it is terrible. So just click on the shoe, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it in place. So that's a Command C and then a Command Shift Option V. So that's Command C, Command Shift Option V is copy paste in place. You may or may not already know that. I'm going to go into Object Layer Options for my top layer. We'll go into Shoe 3, right? And then Layer 1 should be my shadow. So I'm going to turn that off for my top shoe. I'm going to nudge this just to make sure. Yep, I captured that. Now I'm gonna lock this shoe so I can select the one underneath. I'm gonna go to Object, Unlock Layer Options. Then I'm going to turn off the actual shoe and the Nike check from the bottom layer. I'm gonna select the shadow layer. Oop, it's not. Nope, it's just gonna stay on. So what I have is shadow on the bottom. I'm gonna unlock all in the spread. And shoe on top. Both on their separate layers. I'm gonna lock the shoe on top, and for the shadow layer on the bottom, I'm just gonna click on it. And let me see if I'm, oh yeah, effects, and then multiply. So I basically applied a multiply filter on the shoe on the bottom. Let me unlock everything and select the shoe. Control click, display performance. So higher quality display, so you can kind of, oh, let me get rid of those pixels back here. So there, the shoe is, the shadow is allowing some of that background to come through and really just tricking the eye to say, you know, that this shoe is naturally on this halftone dot background. Okay. Is there any questions, or do you need to see that again? I'm going to post this in probably the next 24 hours to the Moodle, so you could see it again if you want to. And I'll chop out all of the ums and all that stuff that I did in the video too, just to spare you.